Tecumseh, the man who could have stopped America. The Ohio River ran red with the blood of dying empires. It was 1805, and a Shawnee warrior stood barefoot on the banks of the Wabash, watching the carcasses of buffalo float downstream, killed not for food, but for sport by white hunters who left their meat to rot. The man's name was Tecumseh, meaning shooting star, though his enemies would come to call him something else, the greatest threat to American expansion the young republic had ever faced. He was born in 1768 in the shadow of a coming storm. His first memory was the smell of burning cornfields as Virginia militia burned his village during Lord Dunmore's war. His father, Puckashinwau, died defending their homeland, his body left to bloat in the sun, a lesson Tecumseh never forgot. By age 15, he'd seen more battles than most soldiers do in a lifetime. By 30, he spoke 7 languages fluently, could track a deer across bare rock, and was assembling an alliance that would stretch from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. This is not the sanitized Tecumseh of school pageants. This is the story of the man who came closer than any other to uniting native nations against the tide of settlers, and the shocking conspiracy that ensured his failure. The Prophet's Shadow. Every great leader needs a brother. Tecumseh had Tenskwatawa, a one-eyed alcoholic who transformed into the prophet after a vision in 1805. Where Tecumseh was tactical, Tenskwatawa was theatrical. He convinced followers he could hold burning coals without injury, using hidden buffalo fat on his palms. He predicted the 1806 solar eclipse down to the minute, likely using stolen almanacs, and he brewed a holy drink that made warriors feel invincible. Modern analysis suggests it contained Jimson weed and peyote. Together, they built Prophetstown, a radical settlement where natives from dozens of tribes lived under one law: no land cessions, no alcohol, no European goods. It was the first pan-Indian capital in history, and it terrified Washington. The speech that shook governors. August 1810, Vincennes, Indiana Territory. Tecumseh stood before Governor William Henry Harrison, future U.S. President and master of land swindles, and delivered a warning that still echoes today. You wish to prevent the Indians from uniting? You might as well try to dam the Mississippi. Soon you will see our nations rising as one body to defend what the Great Spirit gave us. As he spoke, witnesses reported his hands didn't cast a shadow, an optical illusion from the noonday sun that Harrison took as supernatural. The governor would spend the rest of his life trying to kill that shadowless man. This is the speech that changed history. Want to hear the secret message Tecumseh hid in his words? Subscribe now. The revelation drops at 50,000 likes. The British Betrayal. When the War of 1812 erupted, Tecumseh saw his chance. Allying with the British, he captured Detroit without firing a shot by marching his 600 warriors in circles through thick forest, making 10,000 seem like 50,000. Designed ghost canoes, empty vessels floated downstream at night with torches tricking garrisons into wasting ammunition. Created the first native cavalry by teaching warriors to ride bareback and fire arrows at full gallop. But at the Battle of the Thames in 1813, the British abandoned him mid-fight. Eyewitnesses would disagree forever about his death. Some said he took a grape shot to the chest while protecting retreating warriors. Others claimed he vanished into the swamp, his body never found. Canadian settlers later reported a Shawnee-speaking farmer matching his description living near Lake Huron until the 1840s. The Curse in the Coffin. What happened next defied explanation. Harrison won the White House in 1840 campaigning as Tecumseh's conqueror, and died of pneumonia exactly 1 month after taking office. The next 6 U.S. presidents who approved native removal policies died violently. Some called it Tecumseh's curse. In 1940, a Detroit museum's Tecumseh skull was DNA tested. It belonged to a teenage girl. His true burial site remains unknown, though Shawnee elders whisper it's guarded by the panther across the sky, a spectral beast seen before every major native uprising from Little Bighorn to Standing Rock. The unfinished war. Tecumseh's vision didn't die with him. In 2016, Standing Rock protesters consciously echoed his tactics. They used mirrored drones to blind surveillance cameras, a 21st century version of his shadowless hands illusion, built floating barricades reminiscent of his ghost canoes. Even the slogan "Water is life" directly translates his Shawnee teachings. Archaeologists still debate clues he left behind. A coded map etched into a buffalo hide showing underground rivers that could flood settler towns. The lost wampum belts rumored to contain prophecies about future resistance. His personal journal stolen by Harrison that may still exist in a private collection. Tecumseh's war never ended, it just changed battlegrounds. If you believe history's greatest underdogs deserve remembering, subscribe and turn on notifications. Who should we resurrect next? The Cherokee silversmith who outsmarted Andrew Jackson, the Apache witch who cursed the U.S. cavalry? Sound off below.